Hey yo, what it do, what it do? It's your boy Q, and welcome back for some more PIEA action powered by the Esports company, and we're ready for our final week of Overwatch. Top 4 teams in each conference make playoffs, so every match matters, whether it comes to making playoffs or where you're ranked in playoffs. But before we get into our final week of action, let's go ahead and take a look at how our teams did before the break. We did have a lot of makeup games though, so I'm gonna try and get through this as quick as possible. Let's get it. So let's go ahead and get started off with last week's Waynesburg University Esports Game of the Week, where Winber took on Central Cambria with the #1 seed on the line for the Allegheny Conference, potentially for the winner. Both teams entered into last week with just one loss in the fall semester, but someone had to emerge victorious, as it was Winber winning in 2 straight maps. McDowell actually had 3 games last week, and they walked away with sweeps in all 3 against South Fayette, Cannon Mac, and Franklin Regional. A huge turnaround for the Trojans, as they now sit in the 4th spot in the Colonial Conference, and they should be seen as the favorites in their matchup this week, so they control their destiny. McDowell weren't the only team with a triple header last week though. Mountain View High School was another team that had some games to make up from earlier on the season. They unfortunately fell in straight maps in their matchups against Spring Grove and Ephrata, but they were able to pick up a big dub against Boyertown, their first of the fall actually, and it was Jade Seal leading the way with 27 kills, 14 deaths, and 20.5k damage. Forest Hills had a doubleheader last week where the Rangers were able to pick up dubs in both, sweeping both Portage Area first and then Franklin Regional. And Forest Hills currently sits in the outside of the playoff bubble, looking in the Allegheny Conference. So they'll need to make sure that they're picking up a dub next week, as well as getting a little bit of help if they hope to make the playoffs. One of our biggest upsets last week was Loyal Sock taking down the #3 ranked Central Bucks South squad. A huge match for Loyal Sock that keeps them in the playoff hunt in the Allegheny Conference, currently in the final playoff qualifier. But they'll need to make sure they walk away with a win this next week. As far as Central Bucks South, they're clinched for the playoffs, but their position isn't. Another big loss in the final week could very well see them going from the 2 seed down to the 4 seed. Carlisle also had a doubleheader last week and also swept their 2 matchups. 4 map wins in a row against Stroudsburg and then Ephrata. And that Ephrata win was huge, as that was a Dutch Conference matchup. They should be squared away in the #2 spot in the Colonial Conference, but they're still going to want to finish this regular season strong. I believe that wraps things up as far as our teams that had makeup games last week, so let's go ahead and get through these last couple of games. West Branch took down Ferndale in straight maps, and Bayard Ruston beat Methacton, as well as Warren County remain unbeaten as they sweep Bell Vernon. Central Bucks West took down Downington STEM, also keeping themselves undefeated for the fall, and Central Bucks East would be able to take down Cheltenham in 2 straight maps. Central Bucks West, East, and Downington STEM are all clinched for the playoffs out of the Independence Conference. Lebanon High School was in a banger of a matchup against Biglerville. It was a back and forth affair that found both of these teams winning one of the first 2 maps. But at the end of the day, it'd be the squad from Lebanon High School coming out on top, earning their 2nd win of the fall. Penn Hills would take down Cannon Mac in a sweep, Penn Manor taking down Boyertown, and Spring Grove taking down Elizabethtown in 2 straight maps as well. And concluding our action from last week, it was Penn Trafford and Gateway in an absolute banger, a barn burner of a matchup. Gateway had just made it into the top 10, but something tells me after falling to Penn Trafford 2-1, they'll be on the outside looking in. As far as playoffs though, Gateway are secured in that Colonial playoffs, but Penn Trafford needed this win to stay in the playoff hunt. And they were led last week by Waynesburg University Esports Player of the Week. Abram almost had a 50 bomb, going 48 and 18 with 34.4k damage.
Take a look. I assume it's the back to 03k on Cass from the bridge. Yeah. See, nobody knows where he is. They have no idea as the postal codes of his Cassidy, and so he just is able to free fire, 0 pressure, just hit.
So now that we've gotten all caught up, let's go ahead and take a look at who's moved up, down, and out of our Power 10 rankings. Final week of the regular season, so I'll be curious to see how many of these teams finish in that Power 10. But before we get into our final week of action, let's go ahead and take a look at our schedule. Still quite a few teams battling for position as well as actual playoff qualification. There's a lot of big games this week, but none bigger than this week's Waynesburg University Esports Game of the Week.
Okay, coming in, through, but I'm not chicken, finds another one. Gemini comes in, someone finds two! Oh my goodness, someone might have saved the day! Penn Trafford still have the point in their favor. Overtime is not going to be a problem any longer.
And so with that, it's time we get down and do what it do. One final week of regular season action, and then it's time for playoffs. Remember, we do more than Overwatch over here with the PIEA. We've got games Monday through Thursday, and if you want to keep up with everything heading into the playoffs, make sure you're tapped in over on social media, as well as over on YouTube, as well as we continue to bring more content than ever before. Help us turn PIEA into the best Scholastic brand in all the land. Make sure you tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody about it. Until we do catch y'all back over here for the next one, man. Don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere. Game hard and love hard. All right, y'all. It's your boy Q, signing out.